So moving into the Agile realm. So we've all probably seen this slide. Traditional teams on the left. There's a little bit of a hierarchy and a guy or a person in charge, right? A team lead or a project manager. And Agile teams are, the visual there is a circle, right? They're self-organizing. There is no hierarchy. And I want to specifically say, based on the language that we're providing here, that everyone's needs matter on the team. And so just framing it in terms of the intrinsic motivation of the people that make up the team. And so as a facilitator, you can have conversations with your teammates around what needs are alive in the moment. And you don't have to formally train them. You just show up in a way that is empathetic, right? So in this practice of nonviolent communication as a facilitator, either Scrum Master or coach, I can just listen with empathy, acknowledging what I'm hearing, acknowledging the needs of what people are saying, and they feel it. So they feel like they matter, and it does help to create that emotional safety that we all know is super important to our teams. So in the next slide, I'm about to kind of highlight why this doesn't work. So that command and control part. So this is sort of so inviting a little bit more introspection into the command and control aspect. When there's one person telling the team what to do, there's usually, so the cycle starts with someone saying yes, even though they don't necessarily agree with it. And the next step in this vortex is when they actually, implement something that they don't necessarily agree with, or maybe they're showing up to work overtime when they don't really want to do that. Okay, so it's sort of it's living in a yes that isn't so realm, and that builds up some kind of unspoken expectation. Like if I'm putting in overtime and I really don't want to be doing it, but I'm doing it because, oh, maybe I'll get the raise at the end of the year, or maybe I'll get that promotion that I've been wanting. So there's an unspoken expectation. Eventually, that turns into some kind of disappointment, which eventually turns into resentment. And if you're on the vortex, often what happens after resentment is some kind of rebellion, which could, rebellion can take lots of different forms. I don't know, saying they're going to do something and not doing it, or losing their temper during a meeting. I guess the extreme would be quitting the job and leaving the team. So that could be also seen as a form of rebellion. And typically, after the rebellion happens, and usually this happens in several cycles, there's feelings of guilt and shame and depression that come up. And then you go back to the cycle, right? The cycle repeats itself. You go back to saying yes, that isn't so. You go into submission, doing it, unspoken expectation, and if you kind of see this over and over through time, after a couple cycles of this, you can see that the relationship's going to suffer. So that team member is going to, check out and not be present, not maybe stop showing up to the stand-ups. Maybe, acting out passive aggressively. So this diagram actually could be a whole workshop in itself, and I'm just going to give you a couple of antidotes for getting out of the vortex. So in the first one is saying no. If there's enough emotional safety in the team for people to be honest and authentic, then saying no is an allowed response. So, hey, I hear that you would like to have that deliverable by Tuesday, and that's just not going to happen, to be able to have that level of authenticity. So that gets you out of the vortex. If you do make it to the next step, then transforming your have to energy into choose to. So that's a huge one, right? So, and we all have these have tos. Oh, I have to pay my taxes, right? Or I have to work. I have to go to work. So just having that mental construct creates a barrier. It keeps you on this vortex, and it has a cost. So an easy way out is to transform your have to into a choose to. So I could say, instead of I have to pay my taxes, I choose to pay my taxes because I believe in sharing resources for the community, right? Or I choose to go to work because I enjoy the support and the camaraderie that I feel at work. And or maybe I choose to work the overtime because I value that predictability and dependability of getting that paycheck every couple of weeks. So I want to pause. Let's see. I always get worried when I'm, sort of like Joe was talking about, going to a conference and people are just talking at you the whole time. So I want to pause and see if there's any comments or questions about what I've just shown so far.
I'm curious about saying no. But the small amount I know about NVC, I know that some people say that no itself is not the way that you would express no.
Yeah. So you want the advanced answer. Thank you. Thanks for putting me on the spot. So the cool thing about no is that you're actually saying yes to something. So in the practice, the simplest way is just saying no. But if I'm saying no to delivering the code by Tuesday, I'm really saying yes to working at a sustainable pace. Maybe I'm saying yes to reality. Hey, it's just not realistic. So I'm saying yes to being authentic. So that's another way of expressing it. So if I'm connected to my needs, I can express those. So I hear that, boss, that you would like me to work on Sunday, and so I could empathize with his need. Maybe he's concerned about, again, I'm projecting to the traditional team lead. It could be a she as well, but hey, team lead is asking me to work on Sunday, and I can empathize with them, connect with their needs, which might be maybe they're worried about maintaining the team together and keeping our livelihood, keeping the contract and the customer happy. And I can say, hey, Sunday is my day off, and I need rest, and I have some time planned with my family. So that's what I'm saying yes to. So that would be another way of saying no. Was that helpful, Joe? Cool. All right. So we're still awake, a few of us. That's good. Thanks, Logan. Thanks for turning your camera on. It's nice to see faces. Gives me some reassurance that we're still engaged in a dialogue. All right, so I'm going to go to one more slide. So diving into the cultural piece. So let me share my screen a little bit more. And this next part is actually group interactive. So you get to actually pitch in. Those are the more fun ones, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, so, oh, my laptop decided to stop sharing. So how do you know you're in a compassionate culture? Start to think about that while I get my screen sharing working again. So what are the aspects of a compassionate culture that how would we know we're in one? So what would we notice if we look around?
It's okay to ask for help.
Yeah, it's okay to ask for help. Yeah, so that speaks to the emotional safety. Yeah, what else?
There's patience to listen.
Say that again, Olaf.
Patience to listen.
Aha, patience to listen. And maybe even our leaders are modeling listening. Yeah, so some kind of active listening. Yeah, I would even say modeling empathic listening. Yeah.
Mistakes are celebrated.
Mistakes are celebrated and we learn from them. Yeah, so we call up, yeah, and some of the teams that I was in, we do a little ta-da to kind of celebrate a mistake after calling it out.
In chat, Shuan says that there's forgiveness.
Yeah, so there's forgiveness for making mistakes. Yeah, I would say one important one to me is working. So working at a sustainable pace, right? And there's autonomy in that. So I get to pick what my sustainable pace is.
In chat, Suresh says that you can lead by example.
By example, yeah, I love that. What else? Anything else?
Okay to say no. It's okay to disagree.
Yeah, so okay to say no. Safe to disagree. Yeah, I think I also want to say something around we're connected to the vision, to the organization's vision, which hopefully has to do with contributing some value to society. To the bigger society. All right. Anything else that you'd like listed in here?
Maybe customer first as well can be added.
Yeah, and the part that I want to comment on that. So customer definitely has a voice, and it's about customer needs and also the needs of the organization, right? Needs of people that are part of the organization. right? So if a customer wants a feature on Tuesday, we listen to that, and we also value, the needs of the team. That sustainable pace piece as well is super important.
Yoda has also mentioned psychological safety.
Yeah. So emotional safety and psychological safety. So do you want to comment on the difference between the two? Anybody? To me, they live kind of in the same place, but I'd love to hear someone that has a different opinion around that.
Maybe emotions are kind of what are internal, and you're feeling okay to kind of feel those things. And then psychological safety is more of you're okay to do certain external behaviors.
Okay. All right. That works for me. Cool. All right. I think we're ready to move on this topic. So a little bit about the why. So my take is that thriving individuals help to create thriving organizations. So if when personal interactions are based on mutual respect, it does help to create that trust and emotional safety. And so that encourages the authentic conversations, leading to that predictability. That sense of order. And innovation flows because the best ideas win. This also results in higher quality, recurring business, and the best people stay at the company because they're happier. All right, so we've probably heard that before. Right. So going back to the Agile Manifesto, sometimes